question is, you talk oil. We have people, refineries, new refineries that have not been built. We haven't had new refineries in the United States since the 70s. Keystone Pipeline, what will you do with that?
So the Keystone Pipeline, first of all, I'd approve it because it's thousands of jobs, okay? I would approve it so fast, so fast. And Hillary should have approved it. You know, Hillary wanted to approve it, but she's been dragged so far left that she's, you know, forget it. It's a disaster. So I would approve it. But with that being said, I may want to make a better deal. Because you know what? We're bringing oil from Canada, right? I may say, I want 10%. We're going to approve it, but I want 10%, 15%. Because the truth is that the Keystone Pipeline was better a while ago than it is now. Because we have so much, because of new technology, we have so much energy underneath our own feet with the fracking and all of the other things that have emerged over the last 5 years. We have so much energy, and it's great stuff. We have really great quality, higher than Canada. You know, they have the tar sands, which is a problem for them, very expensive to get it out. We have great stuff. So I would approve it because I love the jobs of building it. I love the jobs of building it. But I may just say, maybe we should get 10%, 15%, maybe 20% as that oil flows through our land. You know, maybe we should do that. So I'm going to look into that. But when I approve it, I'll tell you what, when I approve it, it'll be a great deal for the United States. It won't be like, because right now what we're doing is we're approving it. We're not really getting anything. They're putting it underground, and that's good. And that's actually good environmentally, better than having trucks going down the roads, everything else. But that's good environmentally. But we're not getting anything much for it. When I get finished with the Keystone, they'll be happy and we'll be happy, okay? So it'll be good.
Shooting smoke bombs and getting into the ground, and we were trying to throw them back, but it's too hot and it's getting into our face, and they're just spraying over there with cold water, freezing cold water, and keep on gassing people, keep on macing people. This is not okay. We're here to be peaceful.
They're live in a stake to protect the water for millions of people.
We're really just looking at mass hypothermia right now. We've got trucks getting clothes and getting the wet clothes off of people.
Okay, great. She's hypothermic. This is a human rights violation. I love it. Tear gas coming down up front.
We're not here for violence, and they're responding with violence and cruelty.
Dakota means friend, friendly. The people who gave that name to the Dakotas have sadly never been treated as friends. The people whose language was used to name the Dakotas and Minnesota and Iowa, Oklahoma, Ohio, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and other states, the Native American tribes, the people who were here before us, long before us, have never been treated as friends. They have been treated as enemies and dealt with more harshly than any other enemy in any of this country's wars. After all of our major wars, we signed peace treaties and lived by those treaties. After World War II, when we made peace with Germany, we then did everything we possibly could to rebuild Germany. No Native American tribe has ever been treated as well as we treated Germans after World War II. Donald Trump and his supporters now fear the country being invaded by foreigners who want to change our way of life, a fear that Native Americans have lived with every day for over 500 years. The original sin of this country is that we invaders shot and murdered our way across the land, killing every Native American we could and making treaties with the rest. This country was founded on genocide before the word genocide was invented, before there was a war crimes tribunal in The Hague. When we finally stopped actively killing Native Americans for the crime of living here before us, we then proceeded to violate every treaty we made with the tribes, every single treaty. We piled crime on top of crime on top of crime against the people whose offense against us was simply that they lived where we wanted to live. We don't feel the guilt of those crimes because we pretend they happened a very long time ago in ancient history, and we actively suppress the memories of those crimes. But there are people alive today whose grandparents were in the business of killing Native Americans. That's how recent these crimes are. Every once in a while, there is a painful and morally embarrassing reminder, as there is this week in North Dakota, near the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, where hundreds of people have gathered and camped out in opposition to an interstate pipeline being built from North Dakota to Illinois. The protest is being led by this country's original environmentalists, Native Americans. For hundreds of years, they were our only environmentalists, the only people who thought that land and rivers should be preserved in their natural state, the only people who thought a mountain or a prairie or a river could be a sacred place. Yesterday, a federal judge heard arguments from the tribes against the federal government's approval of the pipeline and said he will deliver his decision on whether the pipeline can proceed next month. There are now over 90 tribes gathered in protest of that pipeline. That protest will surely continue even if the judge allows construction to proceed. And so we face the prospect next month of the descendants of the first people to ever set foot on that land being arrested by the descendants of the invaders who seized that land, arrested for trespassing. That we still have Native Americans left in this country to be arrested for trespassing on their own land is testament not to the mercy of the genocidal invaders who seized and occupied their land, but to the stunning strength and the 500 years of endurance and the undying dignity of the people who were here long before us, the people who have always known what is truly sacred in this world.
Greetings, people of the world. We are anonymous. There are many theories about us. That we're anarchists, kids, crazy film buffs that saw one too many superhero movies. The truth is, we are all these things. Anonymous is a symbol, like the flag a country flies. The flag is the symbol of the country, while our masks are our national identity of the people within our country. We are not anonymous, we are fathers, mothers and independent people with the free minds to think outside the box of the social scale. We represent the ideals of Anonymous, which are truth, freedom and the removal of censorship. Like any symbol, we affix it wherever we go, as you have seen from street protests. We have no leaders, civilians or soldiers. We are all one. We run operations because that is what the group decides to do. We choose targets because that is what the people who represent the ideals of Anonymous want to fight for. The world is in trouble. We see it every day. War, poverty and murder. Every day we see it on the news. We are bombarded with images of unjustified corruption, as we sit at home, safe, in the knowledge that we are powerless, and that better minds are dealing with the situation abroad. The North Dakota Access Pipeline. A message to the protesters. It is evident that plans are going forth. A key player in this game of policies will be the President-elect, Donald Trump. As with all great investors, his $2 million investment should not go unnoticed. His election served as a great scheme to a correlation with Canada and the dirty oil field, tar sands of Alberta. Fort McMurray. 2016. The city of Fort McMurray looked like a war zone after a forest fire set the city ablaze. It wasn't long after that rumors arose that fighters, police, special agents and oil representatives were setting the refineries and houses on fire. With a major city evacuation, not one person was allowed into the city, even after it was safe, known as Canada's backbone of the economy. Fort McMurray crippled the province. It was painfully felt across the country. But 2015 was also the year Prime Minister Justin Trudeau would rise in office. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, a major asset to the Canadian Native Americans in 2015. The leader that would stop the Keystone Pipeline and all ventures of dirty money. Sadly, he kept forth the promises of the Harper administration and has plans to push forward with the Keystone. The great Prime Minister, now seen as their liar of environmental concern, Obama holds the Keystone. 2015 months before the Fort McMurray fire, the Keystone XL pipeline was rejected. Keystone. The pipeline came to a greater prominence of attention when a planned fourth phase, Keystone XL, attracting growing environmental protest, became a symbol of the battle over climate change and fossil fuels, and in 2015 was rejected by United States President Barack Obama. Now, with plans to move forward, with the countries divided politically, Trump to take office, Canada and the United States have their business plans on the table. The only concern is the Native Americans. But with Trump, he has the power of the United States Army behind him. The only real cause of concern is the lost and real land protectors, the Native Americans. With WikiLeaks documentations, the 2001 terrorist attacks, one must wonder if it was all a huge lie to overtake Canada and the United States by domestic dominance over treaty lands and its policies. Oil is the true currency. With the new threat, Trump, racial wars could be easily visible. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.